Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So far, like in the base, we have been having Shastri courses mainly on Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav. Bhakti Shastri consists of these 4 books: Isopanishad, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, and the Bhagavad Gita. Then the Bhakti Vaibhav, the first 6 cantos of the Bhagavatam. But we wanted to just start other Shastri courses and other books also, apart from the Bhagavatam and the Gita. So of course, so then as we wanted to actually start this section Uddhav Gita. Uddhav Gita is actually part of the Srimad Bhagavatam only. Uddhav Gita comes in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam. So in the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, there are different philosophical sections in the Bhagavatam. Like right from the beginning, we see different philosophical sections, in the sense like different devotees speaking philosophy to different people. It comes in actually different sections of the Bhagavatam. Like in the beginning itself, like Narada Muni speaking to Vyasdev, and then Bhishma Dev speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then Shukdev Goswami's instruction to Parishad Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, the beginning of the second canto, and then Brahmaji is speaking to Narada Muni. So there are different Kapila Dev, Sankhya Yoga, and so many philosophical sections comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam in different places. But the longest philosophical section which comes in the Bhagavatam is basically this Uddhav Gita. The whole Bhagavatam, like the other philosophical sections may be like 2 chapters or 3 chapters, like Narada Muni speaking to Prachina Parishad. He speaks on a story he speaks an allegorical story which is like which comes in 5 chapters of the 4th canto. Apart from that, there are different stories other, and in the stories different philosophical sections come, maybe 1 chapter or 2 chapters. But the longest philosophical dialogue which is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam is between Krishna and Uddhava, which is in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam. So this Uddhav Gita actually spans almost I think 23 chapters of the 11th canto. The main part of the 11th canto is Krishna's instructions to Uddhava from the 7th chapter till the 29th chapter, 23 chapters. It begins at the end of the 6th chapter, and so it's like till the 29th chapter is the longest philosophical dialogue. And Prabhupada explains in one purport in the 3rd canto. So Prabhupada says that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, but Krishna gave even more confidential knowledge which was not spoken to Arjuna to Uddhava, in order to complete the transcendental knowledge which he had not spoken even to Arjuna. So Krishna spoke that knowledge to Uddhava. So Uddhav Gita contains many interesting sections. In these 23 chapters, there is chapter on deity worship, and there is a chapter on Aila Gita. Aila Gita is the realizations of Pururava, and there is a chapter on Bhikshu Gita. Bhikshu Gita is the realizations of Avanti Brahmana, and there is a section on the 24 Gurus. You must have seen this book written by Hridayanand Maharaj. It's a small book called as Enlightenment by the Natural Path. The 24 Gurus are there. And then Krishna speaks about Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and he speaks about the different yoga systems, the different kinds of mystic powers, etc. So in this way, Uddhav Gita contains it contains very wonderful sections. So we'll try to make an attempt to actually cover this Uddhav Gita. So we don't want to keep it too long. It's like sometimes it is too long. If it goes for, then people find it difficult to make that commitment for so if it is like spanning more than a year or 2 years or something, it becomes very difficult. So at the same time, if we have like very short, then when we are not able to go into the little detail and the depth, then we will not be able to feel that, not be able to release that also. So we will try to maintain some pace. So approximately I planned for some 32 weeks, like 32 weeks, 23 chapters. So we'll try to cover this. Let us see how it goes. So one is that I'll be distributing some policies regarding the course at the end of this, at the end of the class. But in brief, what I want to mention is that because in the base we want to have like a study course, in the sense that we want to have in the Srimad Bhagavatam classes, like there is just speaker speaks and then the hearers, they actually hear, and then there's question answer session. So here we want to have like we will be having regular tests, and we'll be having assignments and some open book assignments, closed book tests. So whatever, and also attendance is also there. So because at the end of the course we'll be giving a certificate to everyone. So those who those who attend 75% of the classes, even if they don't attend, suppose if you find it difficult to attend the test or something, but if you attend the 75% of the attendance, you will get participation certificate. But if you have to get the other certificate, then it's like if you have gone through the course, writing the exams, apart from the attendance, then you will get the full certificate for the Uddhav Gita. Like, I don't want to pressure, like some people, they find it difficult to write exams or something. Then okay, at least if you can, even if you attend the classes 75%, that is, you'll get participation certificate. But apart from that, we want to encourage as many people. We want to encourage you to actually to write the tests, write the assignments, because the main purpose is that it's not that I just it's not that we just want to speak and then you hear. But one of the main purpose of these courses is that you develop a habit of actually taking shelter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Like apart from the classes, like you have to go back, and then when you read on your own, and then you should develop that habit of actually reading regularly, reading Prabhupada's books regularly, and otherwise the purpose of the course will get lost. So the main purpose of this course is that we want you to actually develop an interest for studying Srila Prabhupada's books on a regular basis. So that is why like these tests are conducted, so that there is a habit of reading these books. But the tests will be made in such a way it will be easier, in the sense like we'll give certain questions before, maybe certain questions which may not give, that may also come, but we'll try to give the questions before, and then so that the same, based on those questions there will be test in the next week. So what is being taught in this week, there will be test in the next week, or maybe once in 2 weeks, like that. So we will have the communication through email. So I have some of the emails and some of the mobile numbers which you are when you are given at the time of registration, whatever information you have given. But but some devotees have not given the emails, so we'll take down all the email addresses, and then so we'll inform through email also about the test, questions, etc. And so usually either in the first half an hour or in the last half an hour of the class we'll have the test, and the rest of the class we'll have the class. And in between, if somebody has got somebody wants to add some points, or somebody wants to ask some question relevant to the current to this one, so we can take that. So one thing I wanted to mention, that as far as possible you make the discussion keep the discussion like sticking to the topic which is being discussed. And if you want to have something which is like apart from the topic which is being discussed, that we can take it up after the class. Either if somebody has some like counseling type of questions, or somebody wants some questions which is like not related to the topic, that will take it up after the class. Otherwise, during the class I want to stick to the topic, so that like the discussion gets carried away, and then we don't end up finishing the the portion, and then it goes on for a long time. So because we want to cover a specific amount of verses, specific number of pages in every class, so I want to, as far as possible, that you can give your comments or questions related to the topic, and whatever is not related, we'll take it up after the class. So so this Uddhav Gita starts from the end of the 6th chapter of the 11th canto, and then actually Krishna starts speaking from the 7th chapter. So today I will just give a prelude to this, how this actually discussion, like the events which actually lead to the discussion of Uddhava and Krishna. So we'll start from the beginning of the 6th chapter of the 11th canto. So I also want to request that you can bring your maybe Srimad Bhagavatam when you come. Right now we are 11th canto, 1st volume, or we have the small volumes, like I don't know which volume, 11th canto, 6th chapter onwards. 2nd volume. 11th canto, 6th chapter onwards we are starting. And of course sometimes people may have in the mobiles itself the pocket Vedas, that also you can use whichever is convenient. So in fact, if you see in the 11th canto, 1st chapter describes the curse upon the Yadu dynasty. And the 11th canto, 2nd chapter till the 5th chapter, these 4 chapters describe the discussion between Nava Yogendras and Nimi Maharaj. Actually, 2nd chapter to 5th chapter, these 4 chapters describe, in one sense, the conversation between Vasudev and Narada Muni. So Vasudev, the father of Lord Krishna, when Narada Muni comes to Dwaraka, so Vasudev approaches Narada Muni, and then Vasudev requests Narada Muni to give spiritual instructions, or he requests Narada Muni to instruct him on the path of devotional service by which the Supreme Lord will be pleased. So then Narada Muni starts speaking to Vasudev. When Narada Muni starts speaking to Vasudev, in order to answer the questions of Vasudev, he actually refers to the conversation between Nimi Maharaj and Nava Yogendras. Nava Yogendras are they are one of 9 sons of Maharaj Rishabdev. I think this switch on the AC, I think I forgot. The 2nd chapter till the 5th chapter, these 4 chapters describe the conversation between Vasudev and Narada Muni, in which Narada Muni narrates the conversation between Nimi Maharaj and Nava Yogendras. The 1st chapter describes the curse upon the Yadu dynasty. So now the 6th chapter, the same topic from the 1st chapter is being continued. The 6th chapter is entitled The Yadu dynasty retires to the Prabhasa Kshetra. So we will briefly go through the 6th chapter, the first 39 verses, which actually which lays the setting for the starting of the Uddhav Gita. So in the 6th chapter, how does it begin is that, so now if we see actually that the 11th canto, the entire 11th canto, in one sense, it is all the whatever chapters which are there in the 11th canto that ultimately lead to the disappearance pastimes of Lord Krishna. So the 30th and the 31st chapter of the 11th canto, these 2 chapters describe the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna. So all the 29 chapters before that actually all these chapters lead to the ultimate the final pastimes of Lord Krishna, disappearance from this world. So in the 6th chapter, in the 6th chapter, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they descend from the higher planets and they come to Dwaraka, because they could understand that Lord Krishna has actually he has fulfilled his mission for which he had actually come to this world, and they are coming here and they offer beautiful prayers. Then they request Lord Krishna that if you so desire that whatever your mission has been fulfilled in the earthly planet, and you may return to your abode. So the sixth chapter basically describes two events. The sixth chapter describes the prayers of Lord Brahma and the other demigods to Lord Krishna. Then after offering their prayers, then Lord Brahma on behalf of all the demigods, they actually tell Lord Krishna that if you so desire, you may now return to the spiritual world. And then Krishna speaks to the demigods. Then after the demigods return, then Krishna actually tells the Yadu dynasty to retire to the Prabhasa Kshetra, to go to the Prabhasa Kshetra to perform sacrifices there. So the first section of this 11th canto, it contains the prayers of the demigods, and then the demigods making requests to Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna speaking to the demigods. And then after Krishna tells all the members of the Yadu dynasty to go to the Prabhasa Kshetra, so at that time Krishna's dearmost associate Uddhava, he makes a request to Lord Krishna. He approaches Lord Krishna in private, and then he makes a request to Lord Krishna. And then when he makes a request to Lord Krishna, and when he asks certain questions, and in reply to that, then Krishna starts speaking the Uddhav Gita from the 7th chapter onwards. So today we will actually discuss this first section, which is the main section of the 6th chapter, and about the prayers of the demigods and demigods appealing to Lord Krishna. So we may not recite all the verses in the chapter, but we may recite some of the verses, and then we may like that. Some verses I may just give a summary overview. So those who have if somebody has the book, maybe they can repeat after me. Somebody has the mobile phone, they can repeat after me. Next week onwards, you can give this one. Next week we'll be distributing the notes for the whole Uddhav Gita in the spiral bound, this one. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ata Brahmatma Jai Devai Prajeshair Avrutobhyagat Bhavascha Bhuta Bhavyesho Yayau Bhuta Ganair Vritaha. Can read the translation.
Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, Lord Brahma then set off for Dwarka, accompanied by his own sons as well as by the demigods and the great Prajapatis. Lord Shiva, the bestower of auspiciousness to all living beings, also went surrounded by many ghostly creatures.
So, if you see, at the time of Krishna's appearance also, the earth was overburdened by the demonic population. So at that time, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, they actually went to the shore of the milk ocean. The Lord Brahma offered, meditate upon the Supreme Lord, and then the Supreme Lord actually gave message to Lord Brahma, and then the Brahma conveyed that message to the demigods. And then when actually Krishna appeared in the womb of Devaki, so at that time also all the demigods came to the prison house of Kamsa, and then they offered beautiful prayers. So now Krishna's disappearance pastime is going to happen. So therefore now all the demigods, they are coming to Dwaraka, just like they came to Mathura at the beginning of his pastimes. At the end of his pastime, they are also coming to Dwaraka, and in order to actually take darshan of the Lord, and in order to offer praise to the Lord. So then the second to fourth verse, so Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the different Prajapatis and the demigods, Lord Shiva is accompanied by his associates, Lord Brahma is accompanied by his sons, the four Kumaras and different sages. They come to actually meet Lord Krishna. So second to fourth verse, these three verses describe the different personalities who came along apart from Lord Brahma. So the Maruds, Adityas, these are all actually different demigods. And Ashwini Kumaras, Angira Rishi, and the different Rudras, Vishwadevas, the Sadhyas, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Siddhas, Charanas, and the forefathers, the residents of the Vidyadhara Loka, Kinnara Loka, they all actually came. And it is described, Dwarakam Upasanjagmu Sarve Krishna Didrikshavaha. So all of them, they came to Dwaraka, Upasanjagmu, Sarve Krishna Didrikshavaha, with a desire to see Krishna, hoping to see Lord Krishna. Didrikshavaha means with a desire to see Krishna. And what is the nature of Krishna's form? Vapusha yena Bhagavan Nara Loka Manoramaha Yasho Vitene Lokeshu Sarva Loka Malapaham. So these two lines describe the nature of Krishna's form and nature of Krishna's fame. So all of these personalities, they came with a desire to see Krishna, and that Krishna, he enchanted all the human beings by his wonderful form. Sarve Nara Loka Manoramaha. The Supreme Lord, by his transcendental form, he enchanted the minds of all the living entities. They came to look that particular form. And then, what is the nature of Krishna's activities? What is the nature of Krishna's fame? Yasho Vitene Lokeshu Sarva Loka Malapaham. So Krishna, by spreading his fame, he actually he destroyed the contamination of the whole universe. Sarva Loka Mala Apaham. So they came to see that particular form of Krishna. So here we see that actually the demigods, they were accustomed to seeing different Vishnu expansions in the heavenly planets. Like Lord appeared as Vamanadev in the heavenly planets. So they had seen different other forms of the Supreme Lord as Vamanadev, Prishnigarbha, etc. But this particular form, the original form of Lord Krishna, because that is so special, so therefore the demigods were especially eager to have darshan of this particular form. So they came to Dwaraka. And another thing which is mentioned is that what is the nature of the speciality of Krishna's form? So Krishna, in the nature of Krishna's form is that like his body is non-different from his soul. His body is non-different from himself, unlike the living entity. So that is the nature of Krishna's transcendental form. And one may say that another beautiful point which I explained is that Krishna, by spreading his fame, he actually destroyed the contamination of the whole universe. We can see, like, especially by the different like propaganda by the materialists through different media and different newspapers, etc. Like, they actually contaminate the minds of different people. So if you have to destroy the contamination, the simple thing is, like, we have to actually spread Krishna consciousness. Sarva loka viteneshu yasro vitene lokeshu sarva loka malapaham. So the Lord's glories destroy all contamination within the universe. And then the next verse described the city of Dwaraka. Dwaraka was actually filled with all the opulences, and so these demigods, they came there with unsatiated eyes. They beheld with unsatiated eyes the wonderful form of Lord Krishna. So then the sixth verse describes that when the demigods appeared here, the demigods came to Dwaraka, they also brought a garland from the gardens of the heavenly planets. When you go to meet a great person, you should actually take something. Especially when you meet the Supreme Lord, we should actually always we offer some flower or some fruits or something for the Lord. So they brought a garland made from their own garden. They brought a garland made from the flowers of their own garden from the heavenly planets. And then they started offering beautiful prayers, which were filled with the charming words and which were filled with the charming ideas. Like sometimes like people speak in a charming way with different phrases and different figures of speech, but there may not be much substance in that. And somebody may have the substance, but then he may not have the ability to speak in a sweet manner. He may not have the ability to speak with different phrases and figures of speech, etc. So, but the demigods, so they offered beautiful prayers which contained charming words and charming ideas. So the demigods, they brought the garland grown organically from their garden and then they offered prayers with charming words and charming ideas. So now from the 7th till the 19th verse, these 13 verses contain the prayers of the demigods. So if you see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are different sections in the Bhagavatam which contain the prayers of the demigods to different forms of the Lord. Like for example, I think 3rd canto, right from the beginning, the 3rd canto, I think 6th or 7th chapter, I forget. There the prayers of the demigods are there. When they pray to the Supreme Lord for the purpose of creation in order to perform their duties. The 3rd canto contains that. And then 6th canto contains the prayers of the demigods in the story of Vritrasur. So the demigods were actually defeated by Vritrasur, and then the demigods actually offer prayer to the Lord. Any other section? Does anybody remember where the prayers of the demigods are there? The 7th canto. After Narsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, then the different demigods, they offer prayers to Narsingadev. Does anybody remember where else? 8th canto also contains prayers of the demigods. Before the Samudra Manthan, when the Indra insulted Durvasa Muni, and then Indra lost all his opulences. So at that time the demigods, they actually go to they approach the Lord, and there's a prayer section of the prayers. Any other section? Yeah, after Daksha Yajna, the 4th canto, 6th chapter, after when the Daksha Prajapati, after he performed the second sacrifice, the Lord appears and then the demigods offer prayers.
After Bali Maharaj was defeated by the Lord.
After Bali Maharaj is defeated by the Lord, maybe the short section of prayers, short section of prayers is there. And then in the 5th canto also, the demigods, in one sense they glorify Bharat Varsha, but we can say it's like prayers.
Different prayers. Different forms.
Yeah, the demigods glorify Bharat Varsha. And of course, the 10th canto contains the prayers of the demigods. 10th canto, 2nd chapter. When Krishna appeared in the womb of Devaki, all the demigods come to the prison house. It's like this way, like different sections contain the prayers of the demigods. So here also, now the last section in the whole Bhagavatam, which contains the prayers of the demigods, is here, 11th canto, 6th chapter. So we will try to touch upon the main points of these prayers. So we will recite these verses. Shri Deva Uchuhu Natasmate nata padarvindam Buddhi indriya pranamano vachobi Yachintyatentar hridi bhava yuktair Mumukshubhi karma mayorupashat. The translation. Who has the book, they can read.
The demigods began to speak. Our dear Lord, advanced mystic yogis, striving for liberation from the severe bondage of material work, meditate with great devotion upon your lotus feet within their hearts, dedicating our intelligence, senses, vital air, mind and power of speech to your Lordship. We demigods bow down at your lotus feet.
So here, the demigods, they immediately offer obeisance to the Supreme Lord. The demigods are saying, Yachintyatentar hridi bhava yuktair mumukshubhi karma mayorupashat. So they are saying that mumukshubhi, those who are desiring liberation, the advanced mystic yogis, they meditate upon your lotus feet. For what purpose? Karma maya urupashat. In order to get freedom from the great bondage of karmic activities or fruitive activities. Karma maya urupashat. In order to get freedom from this great bondage, they actually meditate upon your lotus feet from their heart. Bhava yuktair, from their heart. So, Natasma te nata padaramidam. We offer obeisances to that lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, which is being meditated upon by the mystic yogis. And we offer obeisances to the lotus feet of the Lord by dedicating our buddhi, indriya, prana, mana and vachobi. So, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, as you go through this course, we should try to, we should try to actually develop the translation of the verse. Of course, the translation is there, but then when you read the word-to-word translation, like when you're reading the translation, suppose, like which line is speaking which Sanskrit verse. So, at least the advantage of being in India is that many of these words are actually familiar to the Indians. Like buddhi, indriya, mano, vacho. Like there may be some of the words which may not be actually familiar to us. So, but the word-to-word translation helps us to actually to become familiar with those words. So, when you read the verse, you should become like by reading the verse, we try to develop the translation. In the sense, first when you read the word-to-word translation, you can get the understanding, and then when you read the verse, you can try to develop the translation. Like for example, here, Yat chintyate. Chintyate means thinking or meditating. Yat chintyate antar hridi bhava yuktair mumukshubi. Mumukshu means this may be a new word, but then if you are reading Bhagavata, mumukshubi means like those who are desiring liberation. Those who are desiring liberation. Karma maya urupashat. The word pasha means like always it means like some noose or it's a bondage. So urupashat means like great bondage. What great bondage? Karma maya. That means the reactions of fruity work. So mumukshubhi karma mayor pasha. Those who are desiring liberation from this great bondage. Yat chintyate. They meditate with their heart. Kridi bhava yukte, from their heart, upon the lotus feet of the Lord. To that lotus feet of the Lord, what do we do? Natasma. Nata means we offer obeisances. So sma is used because the plural, because deva vuchugu, all the demigods are offering prayers. So therefore, otherwise if there is a singular person, natos me, like that it will be there. So natasma, like we offer, all of us offer obeisances to that lotus feet of the Lord. Nata Padaravindam, lotus feet of the Lord. And then how do we offer obeisances? It is not that they are offering obeisances just mechanically. They are offering obeisances by dedicating their buddhi, indriya, their intelligence, the senses, life here, mind and their words. So here is a purport in which, like, what is the definition of a dandavat? Like many times we say I offer my dandavat, or we tell them by words, but what is actually the definition of a dandavat, which is actually explained in this particular verse? So dandavat is something which is offered with 8 limbs. What are the 8 limbs? The first is 2 legs, it's considered 1 limb, 2 hands, and the knees, the 2 knees, chest, and eyes, and our heart, the 2 knees, chest, head, eyes, mind, and the power of speech. So that means, like while offering dandavat, we are also many times our mind also should be thinking of the Lord, and then we offer we also pronounce some mantras, like Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhuta, like power of speech is also actually offered. We offer also words in glorification. So that is actually dandavat. So here Srila Hridayananda Maharaj writes here, the currents of the material nature are very powerful, and one should therefore cling tightly to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is why it is mentioned Uru Pashat. And when the demigods, they came to Dwaraka with a desire to see Krishna, and then they got the darshan of Krishna, and they are offering dandavats. So when they got the darshan of Krishna, they were actually greatly astonished, because they felt themselves to be actually unqualified. So therefore, in great astonishment, they are using the word natasma. Sma means they are greatly astonished, that they were feeling that the mystic yogis who perform different yogasanas, they are only able to contemplate upon the lotus feet of the Lord in their heart. But we were able to get darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore they were actually greatly astonished. So with that, in that astonishment leads to humility, so therefore they offer dandavat. And by dedicating their mind, intelligence, etc.
This verse says that they tightly cling on to the lotus feet. Same thing is there in second canto. Brahma says that I will not fall down because I am tightly holding your lotus. What does that exactly mean? Tightly holding.
Brahmaji says like na bharati menga mrishopalakshate. Brahmaji is saying that, so because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord, my words never turn out to be false. My mind never falls down. So in the sense, lotus feet means it represents actually devotional service. They engaging in one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Engaging.
Intensely, right? Means, I think, is it like, just clarify my understanding. Divrena bhakti, like intense bhakti is
putting our heart into practicing devotional service, yes. Of course, there is one of the limb of 64 items is that like touching our head to the lotus feet of the deity. That is like physically touching one of the items of sadhana bhakti. But when generally taking shelter of the lotus feet means like engaging in the devotional service.
Wholeheartedly. The question that in 11th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks to Arjuna when he showed after Narayan form, 300 form. But this root is so durlabha even for the demigods. Just my question that demigods have the power that they can from the heavenly planets also see what is going on the earthly planets. So can't they have seen the form of Lord before?
No, in fact, if you see, like especially like Krishna's form, like for that matter, any form of the Supreme Lord, like, without the actually mercy of the Lord, nobody can have access. Like you must have heard the stories like Lord Brahma coming to meet Krishna.
And Mahavishnu also.
Lord, yeah.
They can't have access to see the Leela of the Lord.
Without the Lord's permission, one cannot actually take darshan.
I think Chaitanya Prabhu answered this. He said when that particular form was shown, that is Kala Roop, and that is not seen by the demigods. Neither anyone sees actually that Kala Roop, Vishnu, that particular thing. And other is when Brahmaji and actually other demigods, they actually able to see Vishnu, but not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what he was saying.
Okay. So next verse. Tvam mayaya trigunayatmani durvibhavyam vyaktam srujas avasi lumpasi tadgunasta Naitair bhavan ajita karma birajyate vai Yat sve suke vyavahite abhirato navadya
O unconquerable Lord, you engage your illusory energy composed of three modes to unleash, maintain and devastate the inconceivable manifest cosmos, all within your own self. As the supreme superintendent of Maya, you appear to be situated in the interaction of the modes of nature. However, you are never affected by material activities. In fact, you are directly engaged in your own eternal spiritual bliss, and thus you cannot be accused of any material infection.
So here the demigods are saying, the essential mode of the demigods is that they say like we are known as controllers, but you are the supreme inconceivable controller. So that's the essential mode of this prayer. So that here demigods are saying, Tvam Mayaya, by your Maya potency, which consists of the three modes of nature, Triguna Yatmani, you actually create, maintain and annihilate. Vyaktam Srujasi Avasi. Vyaktam means you manifest this universe. Vyaktam means the cosmos. You Srujasi Avasi Lumpasi. You create, maintain and annihilate this universe. And what is the nature of this universe? Durvibhavyam. You create, maintain and annihilate this inconceivable universe by your Maya potency. And then the third and fourth line, the demigods are saying, Naitair bhavan ajita karmabir ajyate vai. So the ajita means they are addressing the Lord as O unconquerable Lord. So, O unconquerable Lord. Although you appear to be engaged in so many material activities, karma bir, but yat sve sukhe vyavahite abhirato anavadya. But actually you are not affected by those material activities, but you are absorbed in your own unobstructed spiritual bliss. So abhirata means he is absorbed. Like if you read the word translation, you are always absorbed in what? Swa sukhe. Swa sukhe means in your own internal transcendental pleasure. You are always absorbed in a transcendental pleasure. So and another word which they use is like anavadya. So therefore you are actually a faultless Lord. You are unimpeachable. You are unimpeachable. So and the Hridayan Maharaj writes that how the Supreme Lord is actually freed from the mode of goodness. He is not affected by the mode of goodness. He is not affected by the mode of passion, and he is not affected by the mode of ignorance. The Lord is never materially ignorant. Therefore he never exhibits cruelty, laziness, foolishness, blindness or material intoxication. So one thing, when you read the purports, because you are expected to read, when you read the purports, you must know Like when you're reading this first paragraph, like what actually they are trying to explain. Usually if you see a particular line or particular word is being explained in the purport in a particular this one. So otherwise sometimes we're just reading and reading, we may think that I have read, but then I don't feel like I have read something, like it all appeared same. We may think like why this line is written here, why this line is written here. You may think like may get confused, but when you try to carefully go through, like certain lines in the purport, they concentrate on certain words of the verse, and certain lines in the purport, they actually relate to the certain words of the verse. That's how the purports are written. And then sometimes the same words they try to actually explain in the modern context, in the present context, they extend to the application point of view. But otherwise if you see, like for example, the word Durvibhavyam means like inconceivable. So here it is mentioned, even the material universe is inconceivable. Durvibhavyam Vyaktam, you have created this inconceivable universe. So if the universe itself is inconceivable, like we see the word Achintya, inconceivable, used in relation to the soul, the super soul. It is also used in relation even to the material universe. It's also inconceivable. The soul is also inconceivable, and even more inconceivable is actually the super soul, and even more is actually the supreme personality of God. So all these are inconceivable. So then Prabhupada explains the word Anavadya. So the word Anavadya also comes many times in the Bhagavatam. Anavadya means faultless or unimpeachable Lord. So here he explains the word faultless in the sense that how the Lord is not affected by the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. He is not, he is free even from the material mode of goodness, because he never attempts to peacefully enjoy the material world with a sublime materialistic mentality. So those who are infatuated by mode of passion, they try to enjoy the material world in a passionate way, and those who are affected by mode of goodness, they try to enjoy the material world in a peaceful way. But the Lord is actually freed even from the material mode of goodness. So that's what is explained. And now of course the second paragraph concentrates upon this word, Yat Sve Sukhe Avyavahite Abhirato. Although you are actually completely involved in these activities of creation, maintenance and annihilation, but actually you are completely unaffected and you are absorbed in enjoying your transcendental bliss in an unobstructed manner. Avyavahite means, like abhirata means absorbed. Absorbed in what? Sve Sukhe, in your own transcendental pleasure. And in what way? Avyavahite. Avyavahite means like without any obstruction. Without any obstruction. So, like for example, if you have learned this word, Avyavahite, so next time when you are reading the verse, like you may remember, this word I heard, remember that. So that, like that you can easily understand the translation. So the second paragraph concentrates upon this particular phrase, and Hridayananda Maharaj is explaining how in the spiritual world the Lord is relishing the inconceivable loving devotion of his innumerable associates. The Lord is being embraced and is embracing. He is joking and is hearing the joking of his loved ones. So like that he explains the activities of the Lord in the spiritual world. So next verse.
Here it is said, Sve Sukhe Avyavahite Abhirata. Similar thing is there, but I just wanted to clarify from that in 8th canto, Gajendra Prince, he says Analayam. There also, like, he is always busy to deliver the day and night. He is busy to deliver. Is it different from
Madrik Prapanna Pashupasha Vimokshanaya Muktaya Bhuri Karunaya Namo Layaya. Layaya means like Lord is never, he is always busy. He is like he is never lazy. He is always actively trying to actually help the living entities. That's a different word, Layaya. So next verse. Shuddhir nrinam natu tatedya durashayanam. Shuddhir nrinam Shrutadhyayana Dana Tapa Kriyabhi Sattvatmanam Rishabhate Yashasi Pravruddha Satshraddhaya Shravana Sambrutaya Yata Syat
O greatest of all, those whose consciousness is polluted by illusion cannot purify themselves merely by ordinary worship, study of Vedas, charity, austerity, and ritual activities. Our Lord, those pure souls who have developed a powerful transcendental faith in your glories, achieve a purified state of existence that can never be attained by those lacking such faith.
So in this verse, the demigods, what do they say is that Shuddhir, they essentially mention 2 points. They are saying purification of the heart does not take place by processes like study of the Vedas or performing rituals or tapasya or charity, etc. Purification of the heart does not take place these processes. And how a person can actually be purified? Purification actually takes place by hearing and chanting your glories with the transcendental faith. So what are the processes? What is the process which actually purifies the heart? And the same thing is actually emphasized by saying, oh, these processes do not purify. So in the positive way and the negative way. So that's what is mentioned. The first 2 lines talk about Shuddhir Nrinam Natu Tatedya Durashayanam. Durashayana means like those whose consciousness is contaminated. Those whose consciousness is contaminated, they cannot be purified by Vidya, Shruta, Adhyayana, Dana, Tapa, Kriya, like study of the scriptures or simple study of the Vedas or charity, tapasya, performing rituals, etc. And they are addressing the Lord by the word Sattvatmanam Rishabha. Rishabha means greatest of all. A Sattvatmanam Rishabha, it means that you are the best among all people who have Shuddha Sattva bodies. You are the best of the avatars who are the Shuddha Sattva body. All the avatars, they have the Shuddha Sattva body. Shuddha Sattva means like the body is in the platform of, it's not contaminated by any of the 3 modes. But even among all the avatars who are the Shuddha Sattva body, you are the Rishabha, you are the best amongst them. Sattvatmanam Rishabhate Yashasi Pravruddha, and then Sat Shraddhaya Shravana Sambrutaya Yatasya. Sat Shraddhaya, by transcendental faith on what? Shravana Sambrutaya. By hearing and chanting your glories, a person can be completely purified.
Transcendental faith means?
Transcendental faith. So what is actually transcendental faith? So transcendental faith means it has got basically 2 characteristics. One is exclusive dedication to Krishna and complete dependence on Krishna. Exclusive dedication to Krishna, that means that a person has the faith that simply by serving Krishna all the demigods will be taken care of. I do not have to separately please somebody. I do not have to separately worship somebody. We respect everyone, but simply by worshipping Krishna I don't have to please anybody else. That is one characteristic of transcendental faith, exclusive dedication. And second characteristic is that complete dependence on Krishna. That means like by serving Krishna, to have the faith that my needs will also be taken care of. Like watering the root of the tree, by feeding the stomach, hand will also get nourished. Or by watering the root of the tree, having the faith that water will reach all the parts of the tree. These are 2 characteristics. So we see the different processes. All these processes are actually different pious processes, like study of the Vedas, etc. But these processes are like, in one place it is explained, they are like actually, if you want to purify a gold, and if you wash the gold, some impurities will go, but then all the impurities will not go by washing the gold. So these processes, they may purify to some extent, in the form of at least a person can avoid the reactions, etc. Or maybe to some extent some desires may go, but still the root of the desires may not go, the ignorance will not go. They just purify only to some extent. They are compared to washing the gold with water, etc. But the actual process for purifying the gold is actually by heating the gold. So similarly, the process of devotional service is compared to actually heating the gold. So next verse. Syannastavangrirashubha shayaduma ketu Kshemaya yo munibirardra hrudo hyamana Yaha sattvatai samavibhutaya atmavadbir Vyuher chita savanashas Swarati kramaya. So here, in this verse, you can read a translation.
Great sages desiring the highest benefit in life always cherish your lotus feet within their hearts, which are melted by love for you. Similarly, your self-controlled devotees desiring to cross beyond the material kingdom of heaven to achieve opulence equal to yours, worship your lotus feet in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. Thus they meditate upon your lordship in your quadruple expansion. Your lotus feet are just like a blazing fire that burns to ashes all the inauspicious desires for material sense gratification.
So here, the demigods are saying the first two lines of this verse, Syannas tava angri, tava like your lotus feet. So first two lines describe the demigods are mentioning that your lotus feet is worshipped by the great munis, great sages, for getting the highest benefit. Kshemaya means like for getting the highest benefit. So they worship the great sages, they worship your lotus feet for getting the highest benefit. In what way they worship? Ardra hridohyamana. That is like an adjective to describe the attitude in which they worship. Ardra hridohyamana means like with melted hearts. Like with melted hearts, they actually worship the Supreme Lord. They worship your lotus feet for highest benefit. And then the second line, the third line they mention that your worship is also worshipped by Sattvatais. Sat refers to devotees. Like one of the name of the Lord is Sattvatam Pati. The Lord of the Sattvatas. It can refer to Yadavas. In one sense it refers to devotees. Your lotus feet is also worshipped by devotees. And what do they worship your lotus feet for? They worship your lotus feet for Sama Vibhutaya Atma Vadbir. They worship your lotus feet for Sama Vibhutaya. Sama Vibhutaya means they worship your lotus feet with a desire to get opulence equal to you. Vibhuti means opulence. They worship your lotus feet with a desire to get opulence equal to you, in the sense getting the same features of the Lord, or getting the Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya, getting the same opulences like the Lord. So they worship your lotus feet for this purpose. And And there is another phrase which is used to actually describe the lotus feet of the Lord. Dhuma Ketu. Your lotus feet is like a Dhuma Ketu. Ashubha Ashaya Dhuma Ketu. Dhuma Ketu is like Dhuma Ketu means a comet, a flaming comet or fire. So which represents Lord Shiva. In the sense that your lotus feet can destroy everything, all the inauspicious desires. Ashubha Ashaya. All the inauspicious mentality can be actually destroyed by your lotus feet. So then they mention that, but what we worship your lotus feet for? We worship your lotus feet in order to be freed from the desire to enjoy. And third and fourth line also describe the nature of how the devotees worship his lotus feet. They worship your lotus feet 3 times a day, Savanashaha. They worship your lotus feet 3 times a day. They worship all these 4 forms of the Lord, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vyuha. So Vishwanath Chakravarti gives an additional meaning. He says Sama Vibhutaya means these devotees worship your lotus feet to get an opulence equal to you, or they worship your lotus feet in order to, with a desire to get prema towards you. The desire to get prema for you. And what is the nature of such devotees who worship your lotus feet for prema? So such devotees, they see heaven, liberation and hell equally. So if you take the word Sama, Sama Vibhutaya, it can mean that they worship your lotus feet to get opulence equal to you. Or it can mean that those people who see heaven, liberation and hell equally as Sama, so they worship your lotus feet for Vibhutaye, for the purpose of Vibhutaye, for the purpose of getting prema. So, but we worship your lotus feet for what purpose? For giving up the desire for Swarga, for giving up the material desires. So that is the purpose here. So, next verse.
How can devotees worship for the opulence equal to?
How can devotees actually worship the Lord? The desire to get opulence like the Lord. Any answer?
Third canto, Kapil Muni explains that even if I offer them this, they don't want it. So by that they will get that, but devotees don't desire Salokya Shastri Samhita.
Yeah, the same purport is explained. Devotees may accept these opulences if it is actually favorable for their service. Like sense, they may there are different grades of devotees also there. Sense, one may desire these opulences if they think that this will be a better opportunity for me to render service to the Lord. So he may desire that, and if there is no service to the Lord, even by going to the spiritual world, a devotee does not desire that. So that's what Kapil Dev says. Salokya Sarshti Samipya.
I remember that Ramanuja is the Charya's disciple. He wanted to go Vaikuntha before him in order to serve him. So that he wanted to place the garden. For that variable desire, he wants to have.
Fourth canto, demigods, somebody prays like, I don't even want to go to Vaikuntha if there is no service.
With the thrust.
Well, there is some prayer like that.
There are many prayers like that. One thing when we read these prayers, we must know that we must always keep in mind, because actually all these prayers in one sense, currently the level we are in, like they are all the high prayers definitely, but you must always remember that if we can even develop appreciation for these prayers, the whole life is perfect. Not be able to offer these prayers, but at least our goal is like when we chant this, when we read these prayers, we should know that this is like a mantra for me. Like when they are offering this prayer, they are offering from their heart. Like for us, it is like a mantra. Just like mantra means we keep repeating, and then we get purified. So we should always remember them. So there are many prayers like Kapila says about his devotees, Salokya Sarshti Samipya Sarupya Ekatam Achyuta. My devotee does not desire even the 4 types of personal liberation if they are actually not favorable for rendering service to the Lord. Like Vritrasur says that Nanaka Prishtam Nacha Parameshtyam Nayoga Siddhir Apunar Bhavamva, like that. I do not desire to go to Dhruvaloka or sovereignty over the Brahma, Satyaloka, heavenly planets.
The point is, still they went, like, still Dhruva Maharaj offered, but then when the place came, he still went there.
Yeah, next verse. 12th, na? 11th. Yachintyate prayatapanibhiradvaragnav Trayya nirukta vidinesha havir grihitva Adhyatma yoga uta yogi viratma maya Jignasu parama bhagavatai parishta
Those about to offer oblations into the fire of sacrifice in accordance with the Rig Veda, Yajur and Sam Vedas, meditate on your lotus feet. Similarly, the practitioners of transcendental yoga meditate upon your lotus feet, hoping for knowledge about your divine mystic potency, and the most elevated pure devotees perfectly worship your lotus feet, desiring to cross beyond your illusory potency.
So here demigods are saying, you are worshipped not only by devotees, even by performers of karma and jnana. Even by performers, even by those people who follow the path of fruitive activities, karma, and even those people who follow the path of jnana marga, or philosophical speculation. So the first 2 lines describe that, like Trayya Nirukta, those who, there are many people who follow the practice of ritualistic sacrifices, they execute different sacrifices by following the rules mentioned in the 3 Vedas. And they also worship you, they also meditate upon your lotus feet. And those who are, the 3rd line describes how the Jnanis also worship your lotus feet. But who are the perfect worshippers of your lotus feet? They are your devotees. Parama Bhagavatai Parishtai. So the first 2 lines describe how the karmis also, those who follow the path of karma, they worship your lotus feet. And how the jnanis also worship your lotus feet, that is described in the 3rd verse, 3rd line. And the 4th line, the demigods say, those people who worship your lotus feet in the perfect manner, they are the demigods. They are your pure devotees. Parama Bhagavatai Parishtai. Perfect manner means how they worship without any material desires. So next verse.
Are they talking about demigods here?
Huh?
Are they talking about demigods, pure devotees?
No, just they mentioned just devotees, pure devotees.
Yeah, are they also talking about yogis, because the translation says, the one which are meditated upon by
Yeah, practitioners of yoga. We can say Jnana yoga.
Here it is mentioned Rig Sam Yajur. Atharva Veda is not mentioned. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, always Rig Sam Yajur Evacha. I remember some verses. Why Atharva Veda is not considered prayers?
Atharva Veda.
Please, somebody mentioned in this Quran, all these Quran and all these scriptures are Atharva Veda.
I'll have to find out from somebody.
Islam.
You can do some research. Let us see. We can
explanation
tell.
mentioned that Yajur Veda was again divided by Vyasadeva, writing as Atharva Veda. So originally there are 3, and Atharva Veda's existence is specially made by Vyasadeva a little different,
Achha.
and that's why it's 4th.
Yes, originally there were only 3 Vedas.
It's included in this Yajurveda.
You can find the exact reference also. Next to us. Paryushtaya tava vibho vanamalayeyam.
Paryushtaya tava vibho vanamalayeyam.
Samspardini bhagavati pratipatni vatsri.
Samspardini bhagavati pratipatni vatsri.
Yaha supranītamamuyārhanamādadanno. Bhūyāt sadāngrirashubhāshayadūmaketu.
O Almighty Lord, we are so kind to your servants that you have accepted the withered flower garland that we have placed on your chest. Since the goddess of fortune makes her abode on your transcendental chest, she will undoubtedly become agitated, like a jealous co-wife, upon seeing our offering also dwelling there. Yet you are so merciful that you neglect your eternal consort Lakshmi and accept our offering as most excellent worship. O merciful Lord, may your lotus feet always act as a blazing fire to consume the inauspicious desires within our hearts.
So here it's a very beautiful verse. The demigods are praying, Paryushtaya tava vibho vanamalayeyam. So I mentioned that the demigods, they came, they brought a flower garland from the heavenly planets and they actually offered on the body of the Lord. So now they are feeling that actually the flower garland which we offered is a withered flower garland, but still out of your mercy you have accepted that flower garland. You accepted flower garland on your chest. But maybe by seeing that flower garland, the goddess of fortune, who is also residing in your chest, she may become angry with the flower garland, thinking that, oh, who is this co-wife who is also residing in the same chest? And she may become angry, she may become jealousy. Who is this co-wife who is also residing in the same chest along with me? But although she may become jealousy and she may become angry, but we have faith that you will not reject us, because you are actually merciful to, because your nature is you are so merciful that you will neglect your eternal consort goddess of fortune, but you will accept, although our flower garland is only withered flower garland, you will accept our garland as the most excellent object of worship. And then they say that, oh, may please consume the inauspicious desires within our hearts. So demigods, one of the common theme in this prayers is that they are actually praying that, so please actually remove the inauspicious desires from our hearts. That's like one of the common theme in these prayers. So here we see the demigods. It's a beautiful. So Prabhupada, Hridayananda Maharaj writes a very beautiful line. He says that when can a person actually worship the Lord with love? He says, unless a transcendentalist completely gives up the impersonal conception of life, he cannot make a loving offering to the Lord. Unless when a person completely gives up the impersonal conception of life, one cannot make a loving offering to the Lord. So here we can see the demigods, they are offering a flower garland. They are feeling that, oh, this flower garland has become withered, but still you accepted it. But actually, anything which is offered to the Lord, it is transcendental in nature. It cannot become actually withered, or it cannot become pale, it cannot get destroyed or something. So similarly, goddess of fortune, she can never get emotions like jealousy or angry or envy towards others. So when they are saying that that goddess of fortune may become jealousy towards us and she may become angry with us, so demigods are speaking out of actually in a humorous way they are speaking. So they are speaking in a humorous way because of their intense love for the Lord. So this is a humor arising from intense love for the Lord. And why they are able, when will you actually speak with somebody in a humorous manner? When you know, when you have a good relationship with that person, you won't, somebody a stranger, you won't start joking with that particular person. You won't start joking with your principal in the college or something. So you only when you have complete confidence in the nature of the particular person, because the demigods are having complete confidence in the Supreme Lord, and because they are having complete confidence in the protection of Lakshmi Devi and the Supreme Lord, so they are speaking in a humorous manner. In such a way they are saying, oh, Lakshmi Devi may become jealous, and then she may become, she may think, oh, who is this co-wife who has come? So this is transcendental humor arising from intense love for the Lord. So humor, like last week we were having there was this book distribution. There was a book felicitation was there with Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So he had come to address the brahmacharis. So he wanted to. The meeting started before, but before he wanted to come, but then at that time some foreign guests had come. So he had to meet the foreign guests in the room. And then he came after the guests left, and then he came to meet us. So he was telling that when the foreign guests, when they were brought to his room, they initially had a feeling that where have these people brought us? Like they were having a little, they were a little uncomfortable for coming to that room. Like, what is this Swami going to tell us? Like, because somebody just said, oh, why don't you come and meet the Swami? And they just came like that. They were a little uncomfortable in the beginning. But as soon as they came to the room, they heard a loud laughter. Because in the other hall, Gaurnitai hall, the brahmacharis who had gone for bus party, they were telling different stories of distributing books. And telling such a humorous manner, like some of the stories are humorous. So every now and then where devotees were like laughing like so loudly. And as soon as they heard that first laughter, they felt like, oh, what is that? And then Maharaj said, these are our monks who are actually laughing. And then they, just by hearing that laughter, their mood changed. They became completely light. Initially they were a little uncomfortable. By hearing that laughter, they became receptive to actually hearing Maharaj. Now you please instruct us. They came to that mood. Maharaj said, I could actually see that. Maharaj said, that is because of the effect of your laughter. And he said, because like each devotee was telling about his devotional service of distributing books, and other devotees were appreciating the devotional service from their heart. So your laughter is in one sense spiritual happiness coming from the heart, appreciating other devotees' devotional service. And that has actually affected the guests, and that made them receptive. And he said, I was not with you in the room, but in one sense I was more than in the room. I was more than all of you in the room, because I could see the effect of your laughter on the guests. I was seeing the essence of your laughter by seeing the guests, how they became receptive. So in that sense, actually, humor is also. So here they are speaking a transcendental humor, which is actually arising from intense love of Godhead.
Fourth canto also, Prithu Maharaj offers same prayer. Like the Lakshmi Devi will feel,
Yeah.
will take my side.
So when Prithu Maharaj is offering prayer, Prithu Maharaj also says that, oh, I want to perform this service, but then Lakshmi Devi may become angry, but still, like I have faith that you will take my side. So here it is mentioned that it is actually humor arising from intense love of God. So there it's not a humor, it's not mentioned as a humor, but in fact there the emotion is that like Prithu Maharaj is in one sense he is actually disrespecting Lakshmi Devi. So Prithu Maharaj is telling Lakshmi Devi, Lord Vishnu, that I want to render this service. You remove Lakshmi Devi from her service and put me in that service. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, like sometimes when a person is having intense love of Godhead, such a person, he may externally speak in a way disrespecting great associates of the Lord. When a person is having intense attraction for the Lord, he may speak in a way disrespecting great associates of the Lord. So there actually Prithu Maharaj is speaking in a way disrespecting Lakshmi Devi. Remove her from the service, put me in that service. But that is also arising from intense love of Godhead. Internally they have respect towards that person, but externally they are actually disrespecting. But here the emotion is like transcendental humor. There is not even a mood of disrespect externally, but there is a humor arising from intense love.
First is like when I heard from you, then I think that we should learn that we should not judge the prayers. It may appear like they are distant. The second point is about the laughter. Bhaktidev Maharaj in his book Transforming Lust into Love, he said to get free from the diseases of the mind, laughter is one of the most important things.
So in the next verse, the demigods are saying, the demigods are glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord in relation to Vamanadev. They say that like when you appeared as Vamanadev, your lotus feet acted like a flag pole, because you raise your lotus feet to the topmost planet of this universe and then you covered the whole universe. Your lotus feet appeared like a flag pole which marked the victory over Bali Maharaj. And then from your lotus feet the Ganges water emanated in 3 branches, and those Ganges water emanated into 3 branches into the 3 planetary systems. So that was like a banner of your victory. And then they say that your lotus feet gives fearlessness to the devotees, and your lotus feet makes the demons fearful by making them go to hell. But your lotus feet gives fearlessness to the devotees. So therefore we kindly, please free us from all our sinful reactions. So this is they offer the 13th prayer. And the 14th prayer they mention that they accept the Lord as their controller. The 14th prayer they say that Brahma and other embodied living entities were always quarreling with each other. Mitur Ardhyamana, who are absorbed in quarreling with each other. All of us are actually controlled by you. Just like a bull may be very powerful and huge, but still that bull is actually controlled by a tiny rope. Similarly, all of us who are embodied living entities as great as Brahma, we are all controlled by you. So they are accepting the Supreme Lord as their controller. And then they say that Kalasya te Prakriti Purushayo Parasya. You are actually transcendental to Prakriti and Purusha. And Shamnas Tanotu Charana Purushottamasya. May you award auspiciousness. You are the Purushottam. May your lotus feet award auspiciousness, bestow fortune upon all of us. This is they offer the 14th prayer. In the 15th prayer, they glorify the Lord as the cause of creation, maintenance and destruction. In the first line. The second line, they glorify the Lord as the controller of the cause of Prakriti, Jiva and Mahatattva. And they glorify the Supreme Lord that you are the imperceptible time factor by which you actually destroy everything. And you are the ultimate Supreme Purusha, Uttama Purusha. So we will say the 16th verse. Tvatta puman samadigamya yayasya viryam Datte mahantam iva garbham amoga virya Soyam tayanugata atmana andakosham Haimam sasarja bahiravaranairvupetam
My dear Lord, the original Purusha Avtara, Mahavishnu acquires his creative potency from you. Thus, with infallible energy, he impregnates material nature, producing the Mahatattva. Then the Mahatattva, the amalgamated material energy, endowed with the potency of the Lord, produces from itself the flammable golden egg of the universe, which is covered by various layers of material elements.
So, the 16th verse, they accepted Lord as the controller. 15th and 16th verse, the theme of the 14th and the 15th verse is that they accepted Lord as the supreme controller. They glorified the Lord as the supreme controller. But in the 16th verse, they say, they glorify that you are the controller of even Mahavishnu. The 14th and 15th verse, they mentioned that you are our controller. The 16th verse, they are saying that Tvatta Puman. Tvatta means like from you. Puman here refers to Mahavishnu. Even Mahavishnu, he actually obtains power from you in order to actually, create the Mahat Tattva, in order for acquires creative potency from you. And after getting potency from you, then he impregnates the material nature and produces Mahat Tattva. So here they declare the supremacy of Lord Krishna even over Mahat Tattva, even over Mahavishnu. So when you are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we should try to catch at least some of the main point in that particular verse. Like here the main point in this verse is that how Krishna's supremacy over Mahavishnu is there in this verse. So we can at least, when you are reading that, at least we can maybe write down Krishna's supremacy over Mahavishnu. So suppose somebody wants to know like how even, because usually Vishnu, nowadays people think like Vishnu is the source of Krishna. If somebody asks like where can you give any statements of Krishna is the source of Vishnu, so we can immediately remember that is there in the one. This verse contains that. Other verses are also there, but we can remember this verse. So we should try to know what the main point, at least the verse where this verse can be used for. If this verse can be used for to establish the supremacy of Krishna over Mahavishnu.
Previous verse said that you are beyond Prakriti and Purusha. When you say I can understand Prakriti, but who is that Purusha?
Here it refers to living entity. Brahma Samhita, that was also. So now,
each incarnation of the Lord is completely independent and as powerful as Krishna. So why is it said here that Mahavishnu gets energy from you to create Mahatma?
Yeah, in the sense, that is a Achintya Beda in the sense, they are actually, in one sense, they are all in the Vishnu Tattva category, but still Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's like the candle example. All the candles have the same capacity to dissipate darkness, but still there is one original candle which is used to actually light up other candles. Like that. So the 17th and 18th verse, the 17th verse, the theme of 17th verse is that how Krishna is uncontaminated, even though how Krishna remains uncontaminated even though he comes in contact with the sense objects, the senses, he guides the living entities who are trying to enjoy the material nature, but he remains uncontaminated. So, in that sense, 17th verse describes how Krishna does not enjoy material sense gratification, and 18th verse describes how Krishna does not enjoy even spiritual sense gratification. And then the 19th verse describes, because Krishna is so pure that Krishna neither gets contaminated by material sense gratification, neither does he enjoy spiritual sense gratification. So therefore, the two tirthas, Krishna Katha and the water which has washed the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, they are so pure. If a person wants to get purified, one should come in contact with these two tirthas. So that's how the last three verses. So 17th verse, you can read the translation. 17. Somebody.
O Lord, you are the supreme creator of this universe and the ultimate controller of all moving and non-moving living entities. You are Rishikesh, the supreme controller of all sensory activity, and thus you never become contaminated or entangled in the course of your supervision of the infinite sensory activities within the material creation. On the other hand, other living entities, even yogis and philosophers, are disturbed and frightened simply by remembering the material objects that they have supposedly renounced in their pursuit of enlightenment.
So this verse we can look in two ways. One way is that how Krishna, one way is like this verse compares Krishna with the yogis. Krishna, although he actually guides the living entities to enjoy sense gratification, although he is in contact with the sense objects, he is there as a Paramatma situated in everyone's heart, but he never gets affected by the living entities whom he actually guides to enjoy sense gratification. Although he is in contact with the sense objects, but he never gets affected by it, he never gets contaminated by it. But on the other hand, the yogis, they reject sense objects, but even though they reject the sense objects, even by remembering the sense objects which they have given up, they are not coming in contact with the sense objects, even by remembering the sense objects which they have given up, they become frightened. They become frightened even by remembering the sense object which they have given up. On the other hand, Krishna, although he comes in contact with the sense objects, he doesn't get affected at all. So this is called as actually like virakti. Virakti means even though a person is in contact with the sense objects, he is actually completely indifferent to it. He is completely indifferent to it. So this verse describes how Krishna does not enjoy material sense gratification, and 18th verse describes how Krishna does not enjoy even spiritual sense gratification. Yeah. Read the translation. We'll recite this verse. Smayavalokalavarshita bhavahari, Brumandala prahita saurata mantra shaundai, Patnyastu sodasha sahasramananga banair, Yasyendriyam vimatitum karanairna vibhya,
My Lord, you are living with 16,000 exclusively beautiful aristocratic wives. By their irresistible quiet and smiling glances, and by their lovely arching eyebrows, they send you messages of eager conjugal love, but they are completely unable to disturb the mind and senses of your lordship.
So here it is described that how Krishna does not enjoy even spiritual sense gratification, in the sense that although you are living with so many beautiful queens who have attractive glances, who have the beautiful features, but still you never get affected by their beautiful features. Like there's a similar verse which comes in the first canto, Uddhama Bhava Pishuna Mala Valguhasa. Like in the first canto, when Krishna enters Dwarka in the chapter, a very similar verse comes. But they are completely unable to disturb the mind and senses of your Lordship. But one may ask the question, but then when Satyabhama asked for the Parijata flower, Krishna actually, like a hen-pecked husband, he went to get the Parijata tree. So how do we explain that pastime in relation to this?
To teach her something, she had that ego that he belongs to me only. To remove that ego from him.
Okay.
You want to teach the middle word that how to respect and love your wife and fulfill her desire, something like that.
Actually, from that, Rukmini devotees also got it. See, this time, when we went to one of the lectures, he mentioned that Satyabhama, she asked for the Parijata tree, Krishna brought it, and then he planted in between the palaces of Satyabhama and Rukmini. And Rukmini also started taking the flowers. Satyabhama got little wine. Then Krishna wanted to test, then he told Satyabhama to pour, he told that he gave a test actually. She couldn't do the test. Then she finally surrendered to Rukmini. Then Rukmini, she by her devotion, she fulfilled the test. Then by this, Krishna proved the supremacy of Rukmini devotion.
No, that's
the story.
But this is maybe this is a good point in the sense like to teach that, because Prabhupada says that when a person becomes husband, it's a duty. Manu Samhita it is mentioned that husband should provide ornaments, clothes, house to the wife. Like that's one thing. Any other?
Sripad Madhvacharya explains that when we see that Lord is bewildered or he is behaving like this, he says that we should always reconcile that he is the Supreme, it is just to bewilder the demons. Like that he says in Mahabharata. And second, I have very esoteric explanation of this. That Satyabhama is leftist. I think in Uddhav Gita or some other, it is there. Leftist and right wing Upi Dharma. So in that sense, she represents Radha and like some expression there. So that's why he's showing that how the in different rasas, the Madhurya rasa is the highest, and he's reciprocating with his.
Prabhupada gives a simple explanation. He says that although Krishna is sometimes conquered by the love of his devotees, he is never influenced by the desire to enjoy like an ordinary, lusty, materialistic person. When Krishna is actually acting like a hen-pecked husband, it is not because of it's not because actually he was actually attracted to Satyabhama in a mundane platform. It is actually out of his love towards Satyabhama he actually went because of Satyabhama's prema towards the Lord. So therefore Satyabhama, Krishna actually went and brought that Parijata flower, the Parijata tree.
Maharaj mentioned in this difference between Indra fighting for Parijata tree and Lord Krishna fighting for. That Indra was the himself, Krishna was reciprocating with his devotees. Like he would have reciprocated with Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes. Correct. So we can read the translation, last verse, 19th verse. It's 19th verse. Translation.
The nectar-bearing rivers of discussions about you, and also the holy rivers generated from the bathing of your lotus feet, are able to destroy all contamination within the three worlds. Those who are striving for purification associate with the holy narration of your glories by hearing them with their ears, and they associate with the holy rivers flowing from your lotus feet by physically taking bath in them.
So here, now in this 19th verse, so 17th and 18th verse described the how Krishna is uncontaminated because he neither enjoys material sense gratification, that is the 17th verse, nor does he enjoy spiritual sense gratification. The 18th verse is described there. Now 19th verse is describing two kinds of tirthas. two kinds of tirthas. What are the two kinds of tirthas? Krishna Katha and the Charanamrit. So because Krishna is uncontaminated, these two, if a person wants to get purified, one should associate with the holy rivers and the Krishna Katha. One should associate with these two things. So here, the first paragraph, Hridayan Maharaj talks about the first tirtha. So there is a beautiful sentence, I will read that. The bona fide spiritual master describes the pastimes, potencies and incarnation of the Supreme Lord. If the spiritual master is bona fide and if the disciple is sincere and obedient, then the communication between the guru and disciple is just like nectar, both for the guru and the disciple. Ordinary persons cannot even imagine the special pleasure experienced by the devotees of the Lord. Such nectarian speaking and hearing destroys all contamination within the heart of a conditioned soul. The primary contamination being the desire to live without serving Krishna. So in this paragraph he talks about the first tirtha, that is Krishna Katha. And then he says the Charanamrit offered to the Lord, Charanamrit of the Supreme Lord, water we should wash the lotus feet of the Lord, that refers to three things. It can refer to Ganges. Ganges is the Charanamrit of the Lord. And Yamuna can also be considered Charanamrit because Krishna actually used to regularly take bath. And third Charanamrit is, any guess? Water which has actually made the deity form of the Lord. That is also Charanamrit. So three Charanamrits are mentioned. So Prabhupada says that so in this way the demigods offer these 13 prayers. So now I will just summarize the next next some of the verses. So then after the demigods offered these prayers, then Lord Brahma, so these prayers are offered by all the demigods. Now Brahmaji is speaking to the Supreme Lord. So now from the 20th till the 31st verse, 20th till the 31st verse describe Brahmaji speaking to Krishna and Krishna's reply. So what does Brahma say? So 21st to 27th verse, in 7 verses Brahma addresses to Krishna. The essential message of Lord Brahma to Krishna is that the purpose for which you appeared in this world, that purpose has been accomplished. So if you so desire, you may return to your own abode. So that is what they say. Just like Brahmaji, when in the beginning of his appearance, he actually appealed to the Lord to actually appear. Now he is also saying that now that purpose has been accomplished, now you may now return. So Brahmaji is addressing Krishna by the word Asheshatma. So one may say, because Krishna may say to Brahmaji, actually you called for Shirodakshai Vishnu to appear, because Brahmaji went to the shore of the milk ocean. You meditate upon the Shirodakshai Vishnu. So you should ask Shirodakshai Vishnu to actually return. Why are you asking me? So therefore, because Krishna may say like that, so therefore Brahmaji is calling, addressing Krishna by the word Aseshatma in the 21st verse. By that he is saying that actually you are the unlimited personality of Godhead from whom all the plenary expansions including Shirodakshai Vishnu emanate. So this is like another verse. What is the main thing, what this verse can be used for? How Krishna is the source of even the Vishnus. So it's like and then Brahmaji says that you have re-established the principles of religion, and among pious men who are always firmly bound to the truth, and you have also distributed your glories, so therefore the whole world can be purified simply by hearing about your glories. And then he mentions that you have manifested your unique transcendental form for the benefit of the entire universe. and you have executed magnanimous transcendental activities. So we will recite the 24th verse. Yani te charitanisha manushya sadavakkalau shrinvanta kirtayantascha tarishyantyanja tamaha.
My dear Lord, those pious and saintly persons who in the age of Kali hear about the transcendental activities and also glorify them will easily cross over the darkness of the age.
So here Brahmaji is saying, so you have spread your glories. People simply by hearing your glories, they will easily, anjasa means easily, tarishyanti, they will easily cross over this ocean of ignorance, tamaha. So the Bhagavatam first canto also this verse comes like Kova Bhagavatastasya Punya Shlokedya Karmanaha Shuddhi Kamona Shruniyat Yashak Kali Malapaham. Who will not actually hear Krishna Katha, which actually destroys all the contamination of Kali Yuga. Punya Shlokedya Karmanaha, which are worthy to hear. So in this purport, Hridayan Maharaj writes that all the nightmarish problems can be removed as soon as one awakens to the transcendental reality of the personality of Godhead, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and beyond the bewildering manifestations of the material energy. So this purport is about how by hearing Krishna Katha one can actually overcome all the problems. And then now in the 25th verse, Lord Brahma says, you have descended into the Yadu dynasty, and so far you have spent 125 years in the earthly planet, 125 autumns with your devotees. So now there is nothing for you, there is nothing remaining for you to be done here. So if you so desire, yadi manyase, if you so desire, you may return to your abode. So always, whenever you will see this kind of prayer is always there. When the devotees ask for something specific, they always mention that if you so desire, you please fulfill that. So if you so desire, please return to your own abode. So when the Brahmaji speaks like that, then Krishna actually speaks Krishna speaks 3 verses to Brahmaji, from 28 to 31st verse, 4 verses. This is the 28th verse. Avadaritam etan me yad ata vibudeshvara kritam vakkaryam akilam bhumer baro vataritah.
The Supreme Lord said, O Lord of the demigods Brahma, I understand your prayers and requests. Having removed the burden of the earth, I have executed everything that was required on your behalf.
So we see like Krishna, although he is the Supreme Lord, but still he follows the general authorities in this world. So you came and asked for my help, so therefore I came. So now since you are telling that I may go back, so I will go back. Krishna is following the etiquette of like following the authorities. So then Krishna is saying here that I have have executed all that you actually requested me for the benefit on your behalf. Although I have removed the burden of the earth, but there is one more burden which is remaining, that is the burden of the Yadu dynasty, Yadava dynasty. So that the Yadava dynasty in which I appeared, it is very greatly opulent, and they are very powerful in their physical strength, and they are so powerful that they are threatening to devour the whole universe. and they are threatening to devour the whole universe. And I have also stopped the Yadava dynasty, as just like a shore holds back the great ocean. Ocean may want to enter the city, but the shore actually holds back the ocean. So similarly, this Yadava dynasty is so powerful, it is like a great ocean. It was actually it was threatening to devour the whole universe, but I have actually confined the Yadava dynasty only within the Dwaraka. In this way, I have protected the earth even from the Yadava dynasty. So then Krishna says that although I have removed the burden of the demoniac kings from the earth, but if I leave from this world without removing the burden caused by the Yadava dynasty, then the whole world will be destroyed by the deluge of their unlimited expansion. So Krishna is talking about, I have to remove the burden of the Yadava dynasty also. So here, why is he saying that I have to remove the burden of the Yadava dynasty?
Yadava dynasty is from Krishna only, so it has got similar power and nobody can defeat them in Krishna. So after Krishna left this world, then the Yadava dynasty was destroyed.
But why? Yeah, that is there. But especially it is mentioned, the Yadavas had become proud because of their connection with Krishna. So they have become proud, thinking that we are actually direct family members of Krishna, and therefore Krishna actually is mentioned that because just like familiarity breeds contempt, because of their familiar relationship with the personality of Godhead, although they were all cultured people, Brahminical, devoted to the Brahminical culture, and they respected the Brahmanas, but still they were affected by the pride due to the relationship with Krishna. So therefore Krishna wanted to actually remove them. And the second reason which is mentioned is that the Yadavas, because Krishna knew that very soon I have to disappear from this world. When I disappear from this world, the Yadavas, they will be so much in separation from me. Because of separation from me, they will be maddened with love for me. And usually, suppose when there is a mad person in a family or something, it is like the sense you have to, it requires a great patience to actually deal with, tolerate that person, still go on. So here he is saying like they will be maddened with love for me in separation from me, and that because of their maddened state, they will become a great burden for the Mother Earth. So therefore I don't want to cause that burden to the Mother Earth. So therefore I want to remove the Yadavas even before they become a burden to the Mother Earth. So Krishna wanted to follow this principle of prevention. 1 ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Before that actually happens, that let me actually remove that. Of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives an esoteric, he gives a meaning. Actually, Mother Earth will never consider the personal family of Krishna to be a burden. Never consider personal family of Krishna to be a burden. Just like a wife, in order to please the husband, a wife may wear so many ornaments, golden ornaments, in order to actually please the husband. But the husband, thinking that why are you wearing so many ornaments which burdensome to you, husband may remove the ornaments just so that the wife doesn't get burdened. Similarly, although the Mother Earth will not feel burdened by the family of the Yadav dynasty, but Krishna, out of his merciful nature, he doesn't want Mother Earth to feel that burden. So therefore Krishna is saying that if I leave the world without withdrawing the overly proud members of the Yadu dynasty, the whole world would be destroyed with the deluge of the unlimited expansion. See, the word uses overly proud. Like last week, that same meeting, Radhanath Swami Maharaj was explaining. He said that like when a person is proud of his ability, then that will cause downfall to that person. But when we are proud as a community, when we are proud of us as a community, then that pride is actually it is a form of humility. So, but here what Krishna is saying is that when a person becomes overly proud, so then it will cause a burden. So the Krishna wants to remove that burden. So I will just quickly summarize till the 482nd chapter, another 5 pages, and then we'll take the registration. So then Krishna says that the Yadava dynasty has been cursed by the Brahmanas, and when the curse will actually come into effect, the whole Yadava dynasty will be annihilated. And then after they will be annihilated, then I will return to my abode. On the way to my abode, I will also pay a small visit to your own abode. He's telling to Brahma. So Vishwanath Chakravarti gives a technical meaning. He says that above the planet of Brahmaloka, there is a planet called as Vaikuntha. It's in the material world. So there the Lord resides in the form of like Vikuntha. So he says that I will come to that planet of Vaikuntha above the Satyaloka. So that's what he indicates, that on the way back I will also pay a short visit to your own abode. He is indicating that I will visit the planet of Vaikuntha above your own abode, Satyaloka. That is just the meaning he gives. And then when Krishna speaks this to Brahmaji, so then all the demigods and Brahma, they actually offer obeisances and they return to their personal abode. And then, so now the Supreme Lord observes different bad omens in the city of Dwaraka. So when he sees the bad omen in the city of Dwaraka, he starts speaking to the senior members of the Yadu dynasty. He called the senior members and starts speaking to them. So then he sees so he says that our dynasty has been cursed by the Brahmanas, and it is impossible to actually counteract the curse by the Brahmanas. So then he gives actually solution for what we should do now. So Krishna is telling, so we should not remain in Dwaraka any longer. So at this very day, let us go to, at this very moment, at this very day, let us go to Prabhasa Kshetra, and we should not delay even one moment. So here, of course, he gives a long purport, which will actually take up the next week onwards. Next week we will fast. Next week we will complete this chapter and we'll actually start the next chapter also. So after these 2-3 verses, when Krishna tells to the senior members of the Yadu dynasty that we should go to Prabhasa Kshetra, and then he glorifies the nature of Prabhasa Kshetra, how it is a very holy place, and we should go there and perform we should worship the Brahmanas. Because we have offended the Brahmanas, we should actually worship the Brahmanas. And then when Krishna gives these instructions to the senior members of the Yadu dynasty, so at that time Uddhava approaches Krishna, because Uddhava was feeling, how can the Yadava dynasty be cursed by the Brahmanas? How can it be destroyed by the Brahmanas? The Supreme Lord himself is present. And why should we leave this place of Dwaraka, which is much more auspicious than Prabhasa Kshetra? So then he approaches Krishna, and then he speaks to Krishna, and then Krishna starts speaking. So I'll stop here.
Point is that